We have a housing shortage on the island of Puerto Rico. So we're trying to find a way that we can put more houses back on the market so that more families can live in them. And how do you do that? Real estate investors come in, they buy up these foreclosures, they fix up the properties, and now someone can live in that house again. And that's exactly what's going to happen here.
The more of these foreclosure properties come back online, the more prices stabilize. Everybody's complaining that the prices are too high, and it's understandable, but it's because there's such a lack of supply that, you know, whoever has the house is going to get the price they want. I've been looking for a house for myself for the last 2 years, and I get outbid every time.
Hey guys, I know you want to be a real estate investor and that's why you're loving our content. But if you want to kickstart your real estate investing career, we're inviting you to join us on the Apex group over on School. Over there, we've got a community of like-minded real estate investors and entrepreneurs, and we're doing deals together. We're networking together, and we've got courses, we've got master classes. Guys, you'll have access to Q&As with me and the rest of the team. It's a $50 a month investment, and if you want to network with us, come and join us on the School platform. The link's in the description. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Krager, the Flip Flop Flipper. This is Adán. He's also the Flip Flop Flipper.
I'm Junior
None
Flipper.
of us are wearing flip-flops.
We had to go to the courthouse today, so that's why.
Today, I actually had to wear long pants, and then I went and changed afterwards so that we could come and shoot videos.
Everybody is dressed nice, and he looks like he's about to get on a fishing boat after he buys his house.
That's the only pair of long pants I had. It was either that or blue jeans. I guess I could have worn blue jeans. But so, guys, we are going to the foreclosure sale. That's what we're going to talk about today in this video. If you've ever wanted to learn about the foreclosure sale, the foreclosure process, follow the Flip Flop Flipper, guys. Like and subscribe to the channel. We tell you what we do, how we do it. We talk about why. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because from now on, for the rest of the year, we're going to be going to the foreclosure sale all across the island of Puerto Rico, certainly in the Orlando metro area, certainly in the San Juan metro area. We're going to be going to the sale. Today we went and we lost. It was a house that was worth maybe $200,000 to $250,000. A real estate investor superhero bought the house after 10 years. It's been sitting vacant for 10 years.
So the story we got from the neighbors is 10 years, and then 2 years ago is when the bank started closing on it.
Yeah. So what's important about that, guys, is we have a housing shortage on the island of Puerto Rico. So we're trying to find a way that we can put more houses back on the market so that more families can live in them. And how do you do that? Real estate investors come in, they buy up these foreclosures, they fix up the properties, and now someone can live in that house again. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Either it's going to be a rental property for the guy who bought it today, or he's going to fix it up and he's going to then sell it to a family that's going to get an FHA loan, and they're going to get to live in the house, raise their family there. It's a nice neighborhood. You know, the house needs everything because it's been sitting for a decade. And that happens so often on the island of Puerto Rico, is that when people die, we have a terrible system, and we'll have to do another video. What do you call it?
The terrors of inheritance.
The inheritance laws on the island of Puerto Rico are from colonial times.
Yeah.
And they just are set up so that normal people don't end up owning the real estate.
And another positive note is the more of these foreclosure properties come back online, the more prices stabilize. Everybody's complaining that the prices are too high, and it's understandable, but it's because there's such a lack of supply that, you know, whoever has the house is going to get the price they want.
This is a supply and demand issue for sure.
I've been looking for a house for myself for the last 2 years, and I get outbid every time. There's no such thing as subject to approval by a bank.
Or subject to appraisal. They don't even care what the house is worth. They ask whatever they want, and there are people that are paying it. And it's not just people that look like me that are paying too much. It's everybody on the island, because there isn't enough supply. It's a supply and demand problem.
They'll put 50,000, 100,000 over asking.
Yeah,
easily. And it's just like, I can't afford that. So fine. Someone has to take the house.
Yep.
So another thing I want to say before we keep going into the video, we have a form in the description that you should fill out if you're interested in partnering with Robert and myself. It's very simple. It's just a couple questions, get it done, and just expect a call from us. And let's go to foreclosure sale.
All right.
So I think people would be really interested in knowing what the procedure is, and I think it'd be good to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
So in difference to, I would imagine, to Orlando, here you have to bring the money all up front. So if we think we're going to bid up to $80,000, we have to have $80,000
in our pocket,
in cashier's checks, cash, They don't
Cash
take,
or cashier's checks.
Yeah.
Those are the two forms.
they don't take Bitcoin yet.
No,
Fortunately.
it's cash or cashier's check. So basically they want you to have a cashier's check for at least the minimum bid that the bank is going to. So the bank is going to say on today's property, they needed $17,400. And then when we got there, it went up to 21,400 or something like that. So you had to be able to show that you had the cash or cashier's checks of at least that amount in order to be allowed to bid.
Correct.
There were 25 bidders in the room. We were one of them.
Yes.
There were about 30 people or 40 people there in the room actually watching. And so like we showed up with an army. We had 4 of us and we're only one bidder. And there were other people that were there that were bidding and they had partners there. When we are there and we're bidding, we want to have as close to exactly the amount of money that is the winning bid. So let me explain that. Today, the guy who bought the property for $91,700, he wants to have a series of cashier's checks so that he can hand over to the clerk $91,700 or very close to that. Maybe he hands over $92,000, but he doesn't want to have to hand over, because of the way his checks are, the denomination of his checks, he doesn't want to have to hand over 100,000 or even 95,000, because that money will get stuck in the court system for a long period of time and it'll be painful to get it back. So you want to have as close to the exact amount that you're bidding. So we had today with us probably a dozen cashier's checks and some cash on hand.
Wow.
And we were going to bid up to, actually, had I prepared more and looked at the comps better, I think we could have bid up to about 100 grand. We were going today and we only brought 82,000 bucks. So we had $82,500 with us and it pretty quickly went past us. Like we got outbid by half of the room.
Yes. We were.
Did you bid one time?
I bid one time. I bid 80,000.
You bid $80,000
right off the bat. Someone went 85.
Yeah.
So all right, well, that's it.
Yeah. But it only went for 91,700. It was close. You know, the thing I love about the foreclosure sale in Puerto Rico is that it's really hard to get into the houses. So you don't know exactly what the renovations are going to be. You don't know how much work is going to be needed. That gives us an advantage because, guys, we're renovating things on this island every day of the year, and we're able to look at something from the outside of it and sort of glean what it's going to cost. If you're doing this one time, good luck.
And another great thing about it is it's so hard to comp. Just today, talking to the guy we were talking to.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see how people have very different opinions on the house.
Yeah.
Instead of being able to go to one place and look, oh, the house could probably be worth 250,000 fixed up completely. You know, that guy thought it was only worth 125 fixed up, sold.
Right.
And it's like, no, I have comp supporting 200, 250. Like, so it's like that guy was not going to get the house. Neither was most of the room, but
there were probably 7 serious bidders in the room.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even put us in that category yet, but we will become one of the serious bidders in the room because this is what I've done for 20 years. This is the place that I've enjoyed buying real estate the very most over the last 20 something years, is to go to these sales. It's difficult. It's not for the faint of heart. It's buyer beware. You could lose all of your money. So what does that mean? That means that there shouldn't be big crowds of people buying these things.
well, today, no, I think the only reason we had a big crowd is just
It was so
price.
low. It started so low.
And that's what happened the last time I went to foreclosure sale. The price is so good that anybody that doesn't know and knows is going to show up.
Yeah, even the guy who thought the house was worth $125,000, if he buys it for 17,000 to say 50,000, he's golden.
He's in the money.
And if he was there by himself, and there will be days where something like that happens, especially if you get outside of the metro area and you're just sitting in the room and it's you and the clerk, you're going to get that house for 20 grand, you know, and it's still worth whatever it's worth.
So what do you think are key things to do before you get to the foreclosure sale? Like, you know, so you're getting a great price, you know, you're not going to get hit with surprises. Surprises are going to come one way or the other, but you know, it's better to be prepared, right?
Well, so do you think about what we did? We looked at the list, we identified an area, we went and drove it. We liked the area, we liked the house. We looked at the sold comps in the area. So I think that's key. I mean, these are the easy things to do, right? Yeah. Go look at the house, go look at the sold comps in the area. Try to determine approximately what you think the renovation costs are, right? So you can do all of that. It costs you no money. It doesn't really take much work. We actually went a couple of times and tried to be double sure. And as we get more and more in it and better, we'll be even more sure of ourselves, and we'll know exactly what things are selling for, just because we'll be practiced at it again and again.
Yeah.
But those are the first few things that you have to do. And then before you're going to bid on it, you need to run a title search. And we did that where you ran the title search yourself and you were looking at it. And we also called in a third party professional, a friend of ours who's
I'm fairly new to it, so to me,
yeah,
it could be one thing. There's services here on the island that also do that.
we used another realtor friend who goes to the foreclosure sale regularly,
Yes.
and had him pull it up and look at it and get the clear that it had good title. Yeah, you know, you need to check the back taxes. If the house has an HOA, you've got to try and determine what the HOA is. So these are the things that you could miss, right? Like if, let's say, that house was in a community that had an HOA, and it wasn't, but if it was, and there was $10,000 worth of HOA payments because they haven't made a mortgage payment in 10 years, they damn sure haven't paid the HOA in 10 years. So there could be a big chunk of money that needs to go to the HOA, and it's going to survive that foreclosure sale.
Yes.
100% of the time, taxes are going to survive the foreclosure sale. So they don't get wiped out. So you need to know what these amounts are. So you need to know, hey, the house has 10 years of back taxes. How much is that? And the house has 10 years of unpaid HOAs. How much is that? And then you back into what is your max bid.
Yeah. So just because it's going on a foreclosure sale doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the house free of any debt that it might have, anything, a second mortgage or stuff like that. Like,
well, so the second mortgage should be eliminated.
Okay.
Like that's part of the title search, right? Like we knew that this house was from Doral Bank, Bank.
Doral Bank, and then Banco Popular
Bought Doral.
Bought the debt.
Yeah. Banco Popular bought everything that Doral had when Doral went out back in 2009 or 10, whenever that was. And there were no other mortgages that we could see. Had there been a second mortgage, let's say Doral was in first and First Bank was in second, then that would have shown up on the title search. And as long as the foreclosing attorneys named the second mortgage, they'd be wiped out today. But had they missed it, if they fucked up, and it's surprising how often they do mess up because they're human and we aren't perfect, that would survive. So as long as they get named in the lawsuit, in the judgment, they'll get wiped out. If they don't get named, they survive.
And would you say that's one of the most important things to find out besides the HOA and back taxes?
The HOA, the back taxes, is there another mortgage? Was it named in the lawsuit? Are there any construction liens? Are there any other things that attach to the property? Have they all been named, and are they all inferior to the first mortgage, right? Like, so as long as it's a first mortgage that's foreclosing and the first mortgage is superior to all of the other liens and they did the foreclosure sale process properly, they'll all get wiped out. Everything except taxes and HOA.
And is it a possibility for the second mortgage? Well, I guess if there is a second mortgage, would the judgment be including that number in there? So you have to start. So it's necessarily just the first guy.
Yep.
And if there's some money left over, they can kick out the second mortgage.
Let's say there was a second mortgage of 50 grand, okay, and there was 17,000 owed to the first mortgage, and then it became 21. The first $21,000 would go to the first mortgage.
Okay.
The second mortgage would in theory be getting wiped out, but there'd be an overage between the 21,000 and what was bid, and they would be able to then go and grab that money. But if there wasn't enough money, they just wouldn't get anything.
Wow.
A lot of times they don't get anything. In fact, for many, many years, the second mortgages were just writing it off and just saying, oh, we're screwed, because there were so many foreclosures. Now it's slowed down. I mean, today, you know, there could have been a $50,000 second mortgage on it, and it would have easily been paid with how much the people who bought it actually paid for the property.
It's interesting. How do they get paid? So
they will go to the court. They'll go to the court and they'll see how much the property was sold for. All of the money goes to the court and it gets put in an account. And then the people that are owed the money will go and apply for the money. So the first mortgage is going to get the first money. The second mortgage is going to get the second money. If that's all, and they're all paid, now the person who lost the house to the foreclosure sale will get the overage, the difference. If there's anything left, the estate on this house would get the money. Actually, what's a good point, right? So if there's anyone alive who is associated with that estate, there's $70,000 now sitting in the clerk's account in San Juan.
So what happens if no one claims it? Government
the
takes it?
government keeps it. I guess
The house always wins, huh?
the government always wins. Yeah. The government always wins. In Puerto Rico, it could really be a good business to go and find those heirs and tell them that they've got some money. I don't know how you do that here, but you know, if some young entrepreneur out there wants to try and tackle that, there's a business there. I'm certain that there's probably somewhere alive somewhere in the world that has some ties to this house and they're entitled to that money. But if they don't know about it, they'll never get it.
Yeah. What's your plan if we would have bought this house today?
So if we bought the house today, then we would have gone back over there today. We would have cut the locks off of the house.
Chainsaw everything.
We would have gone in the house. We would immediately send in our contractors and we would shore up how much do we really think it's going to cost to renovate it. Our idea on this house today, if we had bought it, was to clean it up. We would have gone in and cleaned it up, changed the locks, maybe made sure the windows are working and the lights come on, the toilets work and all of that stuff. And then we would have put it on the market, either for sale to someone who's going to live there or for sale to another real estate investor to come in and actually do the renovation. That was our goal. That was what we were trying to buy this house for. We weren't planning to turn it into an Airbnb. We weren't planning to keep it as a long-term rental. We were just going to buy it. We were going to get it to where someone could live in it and sell it on to the next person.
So when you're running your numbers at these houses that you're looking at, how do you figure out what's your maximum bid and your renovation cost after you figured out a comp?
We used the tried and true formula that probably anybody who's watching our video has seen. Myself and, you know, any other content creator that's a real estate investor says, listen, here, it's worth X. Let's say it's worth $200,000 and multiply that times 70%. 70% is the rule of thumb that real estate investors use. It's kind of universal, and then subtract out your estimated repairs. So for the case of this house, $200,000 times 70% minus 50 grand, you'd come to your max bid. The guy who bought it today got a perfect deal.
He got a great deal.
Got a good
You only
deal.
paid a couple thousand over?
Yeah,
Not even.
he paid $92,000. And we're saying it's $50,000 renovation on a 1,250 square foot house. Guys, we're really sort of estimating that as high. That shouldn't cost that much. It didn't look like it really would to me. The house looked like it was in pretty fair condition for something that had been sitting vacant for so long. We know that renovations have gone through the roof with this inflation stuff that's gone on, but still a 1,250 square foot house can be cleaned up and done for less than 50 grand, even with everything being super expensive.
I think there's such a demand that as long as everything, you know,
Worked.
everything is functioning.
Yeah.
You could have just put that house back on the market and got it done quick. And I think the number you were thinking to sell it at would have gotten it done real fast. Like, that's a deal.
Yeah.
At $125,000 after you bought it for 190.
Yeah. Yeah. So that if we had bought it for even 100 and threw it out there on the market after putting another 5 grand in it and say we're in it for 105 and try and sell it for 125 and net 120. So we'd made a $20,000 profit. If, you know, a fictional if we made $20,000 on a $100,000 investment in a month, how good is that? I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Even if you could probably push it to 150.
Even
anybody
if
who buys it is still getting a deal.
Right.
You still have a bunch of equity. If you don't have to fix it up that much, you know, it's a deal.
Yeah.
It's a deal any way you look at it.
Well, I think these foreclosures, there will be deals there. There's been this moratorium on foreclosures for so long because of Maria and then because of the big flu. And there's kind of this pent up energy from the bank side where they're finally able to start to foreclose on things. And we're starting to see it. The list has gotten bigger. You know, there's more of this stuff. There's definitely a demand for people to buy it. Hell, 25 people showed up with money in hand to buy that house today.
Yeah. Why do you think those moratoriums were put in place?
Because it makes people feel good that the government is stopping the evil banks from paying the people who aren't paying their debt. The problem here on the island, I think, is different than in many places in the States. They put a moratorium on foreclosures on houses that people had left and abandoned. So let's think about it. If I'm in foreclosure going into Hurricane Maria, and Hurricane Maria comes and just crushes the island, and I jump on the first plane out of town to New York, to Texas, to Florida, and I never come back, I've forgotten about that house. What good does that moratorium do for anybody? Now, if there's someone living in that house and they're working with the bank to try and pay. There are all kinds of different ways that someone could get themselves back on track, but the government getting involved, banks are bad anyway. The government's bad anyway. The combination of the two of them colluding together, it's always going to be bad for the community at large, even though they'll try and spin it as if they're doing something great for the community. What do you guys think? Who in the comments likes the combination of big businesses or big banks and government talking to each other and trying to do good for the people? If you believe that, I got some swampland to sell you in Florida.
Some swampland?
I got a bridge to sell you somewhere.
$10,000 here. You'll get a note in a year.
I mean, my goodness, if you think the government's going to save you, I don't know how long people are going to believe that, but good luck. Yeah.
That's all you could say. That's pretty much all my questions on foreclosures. You got anything else you want to say?
If you guys like the idea of going and buying foreclosures, we're going to do a lot of it here. We'll have a lot of content coming up on this channel about it. We've also got a community of real estate investors over on the school platform, the Flip Flop Flipper real estate community. It's a free community where you can come and network with other like-minded people. You can learn together, and we can try and do some deals together. And
this is what I'm going to say. If you want to bypass the free stuff and really get access to Robert, myself, and the rest of the team, get on our masterclass meetings where we're bringing people like Sharif Medawar and private money investors and stuff like that. You should join Apex. It is a paid monthly fee.
It's practically free though.
But for the price, we have courses there, how to fix and flip your first house. We have every Thursday, we have master classes on a different topic. We're going to start doing deal analyzation once a month, and plus the people in there are serious players. They want to just get deals done. We already done 4 deals.
Yeah.
We're coming into 5 deals now.
We're working on our 5th deal. We're 8 weeks in. It's the Apex. It's also in the description. You can come there. It's $50 a month. The price is going up. We have a whole library of these master classes now, and you do get a pretty good amount of access to you and to me and to McKenna. We've only got 50 or 60 people in there right now, so it's a small community of people who are actually doing deals together and learning together and stuff. The free community gives you a lot of the same stuff. It's more limited access for us. So we're actively doing deals. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Anything we ever do, guys, whether it's a YouTube video that you're watching right now or inside of our free community or inside of our paid community, we always judge success on, hey, can we buy more real estate? Are we doing more partnerships? And so that's where our heart's at. That's why we do, I don't know, we've done 2,000 videos so far now. Yeah. That's why we've now got a library of master classes inside of Apex, and we do Monday Night Live every week. We do all of this so that you can become real estate investors and that maybe we can do a deal together.
We just want to meet you guys. We want to do deals with you, and it can't stop. There's too much to do.
That's one thing that you would say. Why would a real estate investor want to make YouTube content about becoming a real estate investor and invite people to partner with me and tell you that I'm going to the foreclosure sale in the day that I go to the foreclosure
competition sale? For yourself?
Of course, right? If here's the thing, there's so much to be done. I can't possibly do it. I'm just one guy. Adán's just one guy. We are not a drop in the bucket on the island of Puerto Rico or with what we're doing in Florida. If we buy 10 or 15 or 20 or 50 or 100 houses a year, it's never going to get what needs to be done. So inviting people to come to the island or inviting people to buy foreclosures in Florida, it doesn't matter. There's more than enough to go around. There's always going to be something out there for the next person. And I believe that. I've lived that for the last 25 years. I do not believe in lack. I believe in abundance. And that's why for 25 years, I've told people in real time exactly what I'm doing, how I do it, talk about why.
This is true.
And it's on steroids now. I mean, hell, this YouTube thing, it's amazing. We put it out there.
This is so true. When we first met, for the whole year, we drove around everywhere. He answered all my questions. And then anybody else that we met along the way, he answered all the questions. There wasn't well, I'm going to give you a little bit of this so you won't figure out what I'm doing over here. No, you want to know how to do foreclosures? This is how I'm doing it. You want to know how I'm doing the flips? This is how I'm doing it. I'm doing hotels. This is how I do it. Like that's that amount of knowledge is just so valuable.
Well,
How do you put a price on it? You can put a price on it, $50 a month.
$50 a month.
But but really, it's just the point for school for us is not to get $50 a month. It's to make sure you make $50,000 a month.
Yeah.
The valuable information you're getting from there, it's just ridiculous.
Well, I think it's a way to give back too, right? So real estate investing has provided a great life for me, my family, hell, my friends. I mean, I don't know how many people that are connected with me are now in real estate, but it's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
It's a great life, guys. It's better, at least for me, than working for the man. I was a bad employee. I really didn't like the system that was in place. Yeah, I went to school. I got the degree. I got a job. I hated all of that. I never used my degree. I couldn't stand working for someone who, you know, tells me be here from 9 to 5 and you're going to only make this amount of money. I just didn't like selling my time for money. I think today that system is even more broken than it was 25 years ago. And I couldn't stand it 25 years ago. So by us inviting you to be a real estate investor, I'm just saying there's another way. You don't have to do what the whole world is doing. And I think it's a great life if you turn around and start swimming upstream, go against what the 98% of the world is doing, do something different. We encourage everyone to become entrepreneurial. Yep. We think real estate investors are superheroes. We think that if you solve big problems, you should make a bunch of money.
100%.
Yeah. And I like capitalism. So, you know, go in the comments and hate me for that if you want.
Please do. We want to read the comments. So again, we have that form in the description. Don't miss out on our foreclosures. Don't worry, it's not only happening in September. We're just gonna go. This is gonna be the formula for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So if
for
you guys
for the foreseeable future, this is what we're doing, and we're gonna talk about how we're doing it. We'll even talk about why.
Yep.
So we started today.
100%. So if you like the video, subscribe and join us on Apex or on the free community for Flip Flop Flipper on school.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do is come and network with other like-minded people. So join us everywhere you can, guys. Let's do a deal together. God bless.